got married in about 3 minutes, and then I went and taught my class.
Apartment that actually we owned, and it caught on fire.
We were sort of an arranged marriage.
My name's Julie Wilson.
My name's Julie Wilson. Joe Tompkins.
I'm a professor at Allegheny College. I teach in the Department of Communication, Arts, and Theater, and in Community and Justice Studies program.
Me too. I teach in Com Arts, and I try to agitate politically.
I'm Nancy Zimmer, originally from Toledo, Ohio. Moved over here to Pennsylvania when I was 26 and have been living here ever since.
I'm Don Zimmer, and I grew up in this area. I went to Sagertown School. Moved to, well, I was in the Army for a while, and then I came back and moved into Meadville, I think, in either 1971 or 72, and I've been living in the city ever since.
Well, my name is Don Goldstein, and I'm a retired economics professor from here at Allegheny. I taught here for 25 years, beginning in, 1990. And retired just 5 years ago.
Well, do you want to talk about it?
We met in graduate school back at Minnesota, so not in Meadville. We met before we got to Meadville.
Yeah, we met in graduate school, and we were actually at a bar, I feel like.
Oh, the first time we met?
The first time we met is that the people, it was before graduate school started, and we took the people out that were the new people. We all went to a bar by the campus, and I remember thinking, who is this dude that got into graduate school? I was waitlisted and he just got in. Who's this?
Injustice.
Yep.
My niece, Nancy, was a manager at the Iroquois Club, and my niece was working for her. And I'd just gotten divorced, I think, for a while before that. And my niece anyhow thought that we should meet, so she set up kind of a blind date for us. And I think we just met for lunch or
Cocktails.
Or something like that. And
We actually met through my parents. I always kid around and tell people that we were sort of an arranged marriage. My wife, Marcia, was a graduate student in the late 1970s in healthcare management. And during one of her summers, she did an internship at a clinic in Eastern Ohio that my father ran. And she was unable to find another place to rent to live for the summer, so she lived with my parents. And of course, my mother was always talking about how great her sons were. And then after Marcia graduated with her master's, when she was getting ready to graduate, she was traveling to Boston, where I was living at the time, to look for jobs. And at my mother's suggestion, she got in touch with me, and that's how we met.
Yeah, I got a job offer to teach. It was a 2-year position, and we were both still writing our dissertations, and Joe had a fellowship, and we said, well, why not? Let's go. I was tired of being a graduate student, so we came to Meadville thinking we'd be here for a year or two, and then we kind of fell in love with the place.
And that was almost 10 years ago.
My job, I was in restaurant or hospitality management in Toledo at a private club, and someone who was on the board of a club here in Conneaut Lake, which is just outside of Meadville, had sent out feelers for people they were looking for a manager, and so I applied, and then I got that job and stayed in hospitality management until I retired.
The job. the job at Allegheny. It was the best job I was offered, and so we came here. But when we came, we had 2 children already. Our daughter was 6, and our son had just turned 3 years old. So, you know, we came here as a family unit.
The students.
I don't think that's okay. So I would say that what
Oh.
we fell in love with
You don't
with
like the
Meadville.
students?
I do like the students.
Okay. Just want to be clear about this.
No, but I think that what we fell in love with Meadville was we both had lived in bigger cities for a long time, and we got our dog Delman Drake, and we just were walking him for a couple hours every day, and just being in the woods and being at Woodcock Dam or at the Ernst Bike Trail or even up just at Robertson Field. It was kind of like, oh, this feels really nice and slow.
What Meadville lacks in restaurants, it makes up for in hiking trails and things to do outdoors, which is nice.
What are our favorite things? I love to walk. I love to walk around Meadville. I think we're very fortunate to have French Creek so close, going right through Meadville, and Woodcock just outside of Meadville, and go walking there, hiking. And Don, I guess you're more of the outdoorsman with your sports and your hobbies, yeah.
Yeah, we mainly just go shopping in town. We go down to the Tops to the grocery store a lot, and you know, maybe over at Boot Box and the Home Depot. We're always working around the house and doing a lot of you know, maintenance and so forth, and lawn care and that around the house. So.
But your hunting and fishing that you like to do.
Yeah, I do more hunting and fishing and that, and go bowling every week, and
in the summer, we have a pool in our backyard, an in-ground pool. So in the summer, we get lots of neighborhood kids that come and swim. So we have a lot of activity going on during the summer, which is a lot of fun.
I think our experience here was very similar to what many people with small children experience, which is you meet people through the schools that your kids are going to, the Little League baseball teams and softball teams that they play on in the summer, that kind of thing. We also got very involved in the local political situation quite early on. There was a big problem with the Crawford Central School Board at the time that we moved here. And so we quickly met a lot of other people like the Zimmers, who I think you've already spoken to, who got involved in electing better people to the school board. That was in the early 90s. And during those years when our kids were growing up, we knew a lot of people in the local area through them mostly. Since then, we know people through our political and community volunteering activities.
I don't know if we would have gotten married or even gotten married in the way that we did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, oh yeah, we got married. That was a good one, babe.
Oh, thanks.
So we weren't going to get married. Our family was a little bit like, are you going to get married? We're like, no. But then the way the college works is that if you're domestic partners, at least at the time, Joe was having to pay for his health insurance, but if we got married, the college would pay for his health insurance. And so we decided to get married.
We got married for the benefits.
For the benefits, yeah. I mean, we were committed to each other, but what we did is we went home for Thanksgiving back to, we went back home to Minnesota, and Thanksgiving, the first year we were here, and we told your family that we were going to get married on the Monday.
We already did get married.
No, we wanted to, but we had to get a license first. So we went home, told them we were getting married, and then we came back, and we had an appointment at Judge Michael Rossi's office. It was like in a strip mall up in Vernon Township by the movies at Meadville, and it was 8:30 in the morning. I remember, Joe, you went to the bathroom, and there was a sign on there like, don't
Don't think about
criminals
escaping.
don't think about escaping.
It was a courthouse.
It was but it wasn't really a court. It was like a strip mall courthouse. And the judge kind of looked at us at 8:30 in the morning and said, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And we said, "Yeah." And so we got married in about 3 minutes, and then I went and taught my class.
Yeah, that wouldn't have happened if we weren't in Meadville.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, we raised 3 children here, and they were all very involved in sports throughout their elementary years and high school years, and then they all went off to college. And what they were involved in here in Meadville, we were involved in one fashion or another.
Yeah, that took up most of their time and most of our time too.
Right.
So there wasn't too much more for us to do. So, and all of them started on the swim team when they were like 7 years old. So they were all like swimming, and then soccer and so forth. So they were busy their whole time they're growing up. It kept us busy too. So.
Well, one funny fact is that two of our best friends for ever since we've lived here have been Professor Debbie Dickey, who retired just last year, I believe, from the psychology department here at Allegheny, and her husband Paul Dickey. And even though we're very different in many ways, for some reason, I think perhaps our bald heads, Paul and I look very similar to people. And over the years, many people have mistaken us one for the other. And so I would be walking down the street and somebody would say, "Hey Paul, how you doing? How's your son Todd doing?" Or if he was walking down the street, somebody would say, "Hi Don, how are you? How's Marcia?" My wife. And Paul and I got to the point where we would impersonate each other. If somebody thought that I was Paul, I would just go ahead and pretend to be Paul. So if they asked me, "How's your son Todd doing?" I would tell them how Todd Dickey was doing, even though he's not my son. And he would do the same. And there was a former president of Allegheny named Richard Cook, who lived in the president's house on Jefferson Street, and that happens to be where the Dickeys live, just a few houses down. And so Paul would find sometimes that if President Cook was outside in the yard or getting in and out of his car, and he saw Paul going by, he'd say, "Hi Don, what brings you to this neighborhood?" Or if he saw me, he'd say, "Hi Paul, why aren't you up at home?" And we used to get a big chuckle out of the fact that the president of the college would sometimes mix us up. I think he needed new glasses, actually. Yeah. Well, yes, I think maybe if the circumstances were right. Our children now live in other parts of the country, and possibly moving closer to one or both of them would be attractive. It also is very crappy here in the wintertime, so moving somewhere a little bit warmer could be nice. But I would have to say that after you've been here for a long time and you have very close friends and an established network, things you enjoy doing, it can be hard to leave that. So I can't give you a simple yes or no answer. Maybe we would go, but it would have to be something that was fun enough to pull us away from the fun that we're having here.